Alright, hey guys, remember CCG back in the video. This is remember you guys a Centurion deck profile, and this is post Valiant Smashers. So we're gonna get started here. I'm running 2 copies of Emmet. So Emmet is actually able to bring itself back. So the nice thing about that is that a lot of people decided to just run 1 copy. I still like having the second copy just in case something happens to the first copy. But regardless, if you choose to do 1 or 2 copies, I think it'll still work out. 3 copies of Primera. I think this is a card that you want to have 3 copies of just because it's amazing and it's able to bring itself out and just go straight into your 1 card combo using this card. It's like 1.5 card combo because you do need to discard something in order to use like the field spell effect, but it's very flexible and that's why the engine can be so small because you can also do it with something with Trudea. I'm running 3 copies of it as well. It's for kind of the similar reason, but you know, it can also level modulate, so that's great because it makes it easier to get your level 12 synchro during your opponent's turn. And then for the out of engine things, it's just a lot of hand traps and like monsters that you can run. So for instance, I can run 3 copies of Kashtira Fenrir without a problem. Even though there's not much engine in the deck, it's very consistent and very easy to get out. 3 copies of Nib, it's Nibiru. If you're dealing with a combo deck, this is a great card to have. 3 copies of Ash Blossom, generic hand trap of course. 3 copies of Effect Veiler, it's just a great negate, and for that same reason, Imperm. And then we run the 2 copies of Triple Tactic Talents. This card, if you happen to go second, can give you a lot of value and some interaction if your opponent has an established board. 1 copy of Terraform because the field spell is extremely powerful, so you want to be able to search that out. 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity because you really just need to see one of your Centurion monsters to really do something, and you're going to see that in the combos video. I'm going to be showing you guys a bunch of 1 card combos to get you straight into engine, and using cards like Pot of Prosperity to draw straight into it is great for that reason. Wraith of Centurion here, 1 copy. This card is great because you can just put a Centurion monster in your spell and trap zone, and if you happen to synchro summon a monster, if you have a Centurion synchro monster, a special summon onto the field while this card is in the grave, you can banish it and then do the same thing again. So a lot of value that this card can provide. 1 copy of Called by the Grave, just if you don't want to deal with hand traps, it's a great card to run. 3 copies of Emblema of Oath. So this card is great because it's another 1 card combo that you can do with this card, as it's able to search out your Centurion monster, or it can also set one of your Centurion spell or traps. And since we have something like Truth Centurion, being able to search it out, it's solid, and it gives you a quick negate that you can get out. But of course, a lot of times you want to be able to search out one of your spells that you're able to activate right away. And then we have 3 copies of Stand Up Centurion. So this card is, like I mentioned, is a big part of the 1 card combo, as you're able to utilize this card in order to search out a Centurion monster and put it in your spell and trap zone as a continuous trap. That's great because you can use something like Primera. If you summon this out, you can search out a Centurion card. So you can just search out Stand Up Centurion, discard something, and then go straight into your combo as you're able to establish a board. And this is what actually enables you to synchro summon during your opponent's turn and be able to pop out, you know, the Crimson Dragon and go straight into what you want to go into. And we'll cover that when we go to the actual deck. But let's continue here. So 3 copies of Imperm, as I covered, is the other hand trap of choice. 2 copies of Centurion Phalanx. It's able to banish a card on the board, a monster on the board, and if you do, it'll bring it back. But you know, it's just great to have that quick little banish and form of interaction for your opponent. And 1 copy of Truth Centurion because this is a spell trap monster effect negate by sending a face-up monster card from your spell and trap zone to the graveyard. So that's great because you're obviously gonna have a lot of things there, as a lot of these cards you're able to recycle during your opponent's turn and get them back on the board. Now before I go to the extra deck, if you guys are enjoying the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get started here. So here, these are the level 12 synchro targets that we have. So in order to understand that, we have to understand why we're running 3 copies of Centurion Legatia. So Legatia here, we're able to draw a card, and then, you know, if your opponent has a monster on the board, you can pop the monster they have with the highest attack, and then during the end phase you can place 1 non-synchro Centurion monster from your hand or grave face up in your spell and trap zone. It's a continuous trap. So this is what I was talking about, getting the recurring value out of your Centurion monsters. But the most important part about this card is that it's a level 12 monster, and so when you go into Crimson Dragon during your opponent's turn, which is pretty easy to do because you have Primera, who's a level 4 tuner, and you have Trudea that can be turned into a level 8 non-tuner, and we have the level 8 Centurion Emmet. So then we can easily synchro summon using the field spell to go into the Crimson Dragon, target Legatia here, And then once we do so we can use Crimson Dragon here to switch itself out by targeting Legacia. So it's going to be a level 12 dragon synchro monster from our extra deck. So important targets that we can get out here is something like Cosmic Blazer Dragon. We can get ourselves Heart Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity, as we've seen with multiple decks now being able to utilize this card. There's probably going to be something that happens to Crimson Dragon or this card, as it's been used a lot and it's just a pretty easy way of cheesing it out. But for now, this is a great card to run, as it's basically once you get it out, your opponent's not going to be able to do anything, and it's pretty easy to set up. And then Red Supernova Dragon is another monster that you can target, and although you can't summon Despian Lula Willith because it is not a level 12, or it's not a dragon synchro monster, you're not going to be able to get it out. But if you are able to get it out using a level 4 tuner and one of our non-tuners, so you can get it out pretty easily using Primera. And then when this card happens to, during the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because of the center of its turn, you can special summon one light spellcaster monster from your hand or deck whose attack equals its own defense. So light spellcaster with attack and defense the same. Here we have Centurion Primera, so we're going to be able to get that out. Pretty easy value and pretty easy to summon out, even if we don't use summon it out using the Crimson Dragon. And then we have Baron the Floor Hero, who isn't the most conventional summon to go into, but there is some lines to go into it. And then a level 8 synchro, and here I just chose to run Draco Berserker of the Tenyi, of course, because we have a level 4 Centurion Primera tuner, and then Centurion Today as the non-tuner, so we can actually just use that to go into whatever level 8 synchro we want. And I just chose here Draco Berserker. And then we have Zeus, because we do have a few Exceed monsters that we can go into. One instance here is Sky Crisis. We can summon it out using 2 level 12 monsters, but you can also summon it out if your opponent special summon 2 or more monsters from the extra deck. Then you can summon it out by using one monster you control with the highest attack, and then you can transfer the materials to this card. If you do, you cannot normal or special summon monsters for the rest of the turn, so just keep that in mind. And then while there's Exceed summons on the field, another player can activate the effect of monsters with 3000 or more attack. So it's pretty easy to get this card out if your opponent already established a board and it's going to be a little difficult for you to break through it. Then you can get this card out, and the monsters that they summon are probably going to be pretty high attack, and them not being able to activate that effect is going to suck quite a bit. And then we have Dingirsu, the Orcus. It's a rank 8, and it's not that hard to get out at rank 8. Excitation Knight, just a rank 4 that you can run. SP Little Knight. So this card, again, it's going to be pretty hard to get it right now, but you can see that it's already becoming a staple, and it's just a powerful monster overall. So for the side deck, you only see Bonfire, and that's because I do want to run it once it comes out. And once it does, being able to use it as Search of Trudea is going to just overall increase the consistency of the deck by quite a bit. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to stay tuned for the combos, and I'll talk to you guys next time. See ya.